if I'm still missing you before the leaves fall. Just know I never meant to take so long.
It was obvious from the very beginning. Abnormal wrist and ankle movements, no eye contact, poor eating patterns. She didn't sleep until she was 2.5 years old. And she never liked to be rocked or snuggled. You know, there's a groove you get into with a child, and we just never got there. The bonding didn't happen. Not for her and not for me. Those first couple of years were so dark. And every day I thought it was going to get better. I'd tell myself, I'll get it right today. But I never did. And our pediatrician didn't have any experience with this stuff. I didn't hear the word autism until she was 2 years old. And I'll tell you what, it was a relief to finally hear that word. You know, to learn that there was something wrong. Well, let's not say wrong, just different about her. It wasn't just that she didn't like her baby food or that she didn't want her mom. It was something else. It was something different. And when I walked out of the doctor's office that day, it was the first time I felt like I wanted to defend her. It was the first time I felt like we were on the same team. I remember saying these horrible things. You know, just shut up, just please stop crying for a second. There were even times when I thought about putting her outside. You know, these aren't good memories to have. But those first few years were so dark. And there was no respite. No days with Grandma, no one to tell me, she has a problem and here's how you get through it. We were all on our own. And I acted pretty ugly. There were times when I hated her. There was a lot of yelling. I'd get mad when we didn't know math today that we knew yesterday. We'd spend hours on every assignment. And then there was the movie thing. I don't know if she told you about the movie thing. So whenever she'd feel overwhelmed, she would recite movies, word for word. And she'd come home with tears in her glasses because the other kids would make fun of her. And I just wanted her to stop, you know? Just stop talking to yourself. It's not difficult. Everything was so exhausting. It was so much work. I couldn't relax. I couldn't get out of my own head. I was never able to say, fuck it, we're not doing this today. You don't have to improve today. It's okay to be who you are. I never got there. But I know I'm forgiven. The Bible doesn't say you have to forgive yourself, but I know I'm forgiven. And Renee forgives me, of course. I've apologized so many times. She doesn't like to see me cry, so she'll pat me on the back and say, I know, Mom, I know. I just wish that I could have known that we'd get here one day. That she'd find her voice. I mean, I never thought she'd be able to make it out. That one day she would be able to tell me how lonely she felt, and I could tell her how sorry I
am. I'll race against that southern wind and beat it to your door. Give me one more minute, nothing more.
There was a permanent dark cloud in the house. It was abuse in every way. Mental, physical, sexual. It was permanent fear. When my father was home, I would lock myself in my room and try to be as quiet as possible. My mother and I finally escaped when I was 6. but the abuse stayed with me. I didn't make any friends at school. I couldn't trust anyone. But when I was 14, my mom told me that we could do something about it. She asked if I'd be willing to testify, and I agreed. The trial happened 2 years later on my father's military base. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. The lawyers told me that I didn't have to be in the courtroom when I testified, but I felt like I needed to face him, to show him that I wasn't afraid anymore. He was already seated when I walked into the courtroom. I put my hand on the Bible, and I looked right at him. I felt this stroke of fear wash over me, like I was a kid again. But I set it aside, and I gave my testimony. It felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. I've moved on with my life. I don't think about him. I've grown to look like him, but I'm not him. Even when people tell me I'm him, I'm not him. I'm me. I've lived my entire life to not be like him.
Another year of seasons makes forever seem so small. I just need one more minute, that'd be all.
I was working as a prep cook at a barbecue joint in Harlem. I came home from work early one day and discovered my wife with another man. That was the beginning of all this. I'd been with her for 21 years. I was devastated. I got right back on the bus and headed back to the city. I went straight to the bars on 42nd Street. I got wasted every single day. I lost my phone, my wallet, my contacts. I didn't want to do nothing. I just said, F it. I've been on the street now for about 8 months. When it's time to sleep, I just find a place to rest. But I spend most of my time here on this block. These are some of the best people here on this block. I've never experienced so many good people in my life. Some of them help me out every single day. They say to me, "What are you doing here? We've never met anyone like you." Lily and her daughter brought the whole family to meet me on Thanksgiving. I felt like a celebrity. And then there's Cheryl with the glasses, who just walked by a couple minutes ago. Love her. John and his wife, love them too. David and Michael are the best. And what's up to my man Sean from the beauty parlor? Shout out T and Mary Ann. So many good friends on this block. But they aren't going to see me too much longer. Because I found a program that's going to give me a place to stay. And a job cleaning up the streets. I'm done with this life. I don't belong here. And I know my kids miss me. So, if you don't see me here someday soon, you can say, he's done it. He's gone. But I'm going to surprise everyone. Because I'm coming back with Christmas cards.
Sonder. Defined as the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. We are our own main character, but to others a blurry extra, only there for a fleeting moment. We are our own history. We share of what is in our present and the memories we hold from the past. When you tell your story, you share a piece of yourself. Sharing your story may be gleeful or hard. Hearing someone's history can be confusing or validating. But at the end of the day, no matter what story you decide to tell, no matter how big a part you have in that story, at the deepest root of it all, we are all humans. And isn't that what matters?
If snow falls. Doesn't mean that I don't